So let's go. So, the arm contracts and deliveries to Israel. The first contracts were signed on the 14th of January 1948 by Jan Masaryk, the Czech foreign minister at the time. Ideology played no role in these initial transactions. They were exclusively commercial. The contract included 200 MG-34 machine guns or machine gewehr, 4,500 P-18 rifles or Kar 98K rifles, and 50,400,000 rounds of ammunition. Syria bought from Czechoslovakia a quantity of arms for the Arab Liberation Army as well, or the ALA, but the shipments arrived in Israel due to Haganah intervention. So now the deliveries. The first shipment of 200 rifles, 40 MG-34 machine guns and bullets secretly landed during the night of the 31st of March and the 1st of April at a makeshift airfield in Bet Dadas in a chartered American Skymaster cargo plane. The second largest shipment, covered with onions and potatoes, of 4,500 rifles and 200 machine guns with more bullets, arrived at the Tel Aviv port aboard the Nora on the 2nd of April. A third shipment of 10,000 rifles, 1,450 machine guns, and the most bullets reached the Yushev by sea on the 20th of April. At last, the Haganah Command had at its hand a stockpile of thousands of weapons that could be freely deployed to anybody, anywhere, for any paramilitary group or Jewish volunteers, anything like that. The shipments proved decisive. Without a doubt, of all the shipments that subsequently reached the Yushev, or the Yushev, which is the kind of like local name for Israel, none was to have a greater immediate impact or historical significance like that of 1948. Now, we're going to look at total deliveries confirmed until October with the cessation of hostilities. Now, infantry weapons, of course. Infantry weapons. 34,500 P-18 rifles, 5,515 MG-34 or machine gewehr 34 machine guns with 10,000 rounds of ammunition, 10,000 VZ-27 bayonets, 900 VZ-37 heavy machine guns, 500 VZ-27 pistols, 12 ZK-383 submachine guns, 10 ZK-420 semi-automatic rifles, 500 VZ-26 light machine guns shipped yet not really delivered or confirmed in Czech sources. So I don't know if it's a British thing, but these are the infamous Bren gun, but with the box magazine, the famous Bren gun, I should say. But these are the actual Czechoslovakian model, because it was a cooperation between the Bren and the Enfield company, I believe. Enfield, or yeah, I think it's Enfield. Anyway, we'll get to more weapons like that later in the World War II thing. Anyway, infantry ammunition. 91,500,000 7x92 by 57mm Mauser cartridges, 15,000,000 9mm Parabellum cartridges, 375,000 13mm cartridges for the MG or the machine gewehr 131, 150,000 20mm cartridges for the MG 151, and 375,000 7x65mm cartridges for the VZ-27 pistol. I had a brain for it just now. Alright, we know we're talking about weapons, but aircraft made a surprising thing in here as well, so we're going to talk about aircraft as well. So 25 Ava S-199 fighters and 61 Supermarine Spitfires Mark 8 fighters were sent to Israel. Now, some of the aircraft were lost en route to Israel. The deliveries of aircraft began on the 20th of May 1948 and conducted from the Czech airfield near the town of Zatek. Some of the Ava fighters were dismantled and flown to Israel in transport airplanes as well. Now, some of the deliveries were not finished until after the succession of hostilities, though, or secession of hostilities, if you really want to clamor into my skin about how I said something wrong. So only 18 Spitfires reached Israel prior to the end of the war by direct flight from Czechoslovakia. During Operation Velveta 1 in September, which was 6 planes, and Velveta 2 in December 1948, which was 12 planes. Both operations with a refueling stop in Yugoslavia. During Operation Velveta 2, Spitfires were repainted in Yugoslav Air Force markings for the flight from Konavice to Nisik. The rest were shipping crates, officially declared as scrap iron, along with 12 Merlin 66 engines, and deliveries lasted until the end of April 1950, well after the 1948 war, and well after Czechoslovakia became communist and kind of cut off Israel for that reason. So, gotta love the commitment. Okay, there's one last one. Other defense corporations as well. Now, Czechoslovakia also trained 81 pilots and 69 ground crew specialists. Nice. Some of them later forming the first fighter units for the Israeli Air Force. And on Czechoslovakian soil, a group of Jewish volunteers the size of approximately a brigade, about 1,300 men and women, because we're about gender equality here, were also trained from the 20th of August until the 4th of November 1948. The Czechoslovak Armed Forces codenamed the training mainly as DI, an abbreviation for Deliveries Israel, literally meaning classified Israel. A motor mechanized brigade of Jewish volunteers also trained in Czechoslovakia, but did not take part in the war of 1948 or take part in the 1948 war. Or did not take part in the 1948 war. I saw a little thing there, so just wanted to make sure. But with that, that is it. I had to lay on the bed because when you're on your back, pretty much, that is like the most authentic airway flow. So with that is pretty nice. But I think that's it. I'm gonna train for it a bit. I'm gonna train, and then we're gonna get that, and then we'll be able to sit up and do that. But anyway, without talking about voice stuff, I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope you learned something. I do find it kind of ironic that the weapons used against the Jews in the Holocaust would make the modern nation state of Israel. So that is actually kind of funny in an ironic kind of cosmic sense, you know, like freaking Dante's Inferno kind of stuff. I don't know. I should, you know, like the freaking irony. The irony is so great. The irony is just like so great. The cosmic humor is so great. But with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope you learned something. And until next time, learn something. Stay in school. Stay safe. Sanitize your hands. And I have nothing to say. So till next time. Later. Bye bye. Learn something, of course.